we are starting this session on learning from inspirational projects and practices. So we have four projects and initiatives, as I mentioned already in my introduction. So we have Rezopouce from France, Transport for Ireland, Sopotniki from Slovenia, and the experience of the cycling tourism network from Italy. So without waiting, I will give the floor to Jacques-Léon Gout, who is accompanied by Bénédicte Rozes, but Jacques-Léon will make the presentation on Rezopouce, which is an interesting initiative of organizing modern hitchhiking in France. So Jacques-Léon, you have the floor.
So I can start to talk. I'm a transition facilitator for a company called Mobicop. Mobicop work particularly in a rural territory. Yeah, thank you. It's gonna work.
Thank you, Sarah.
Can you see it properly, all of you? Is it okay?
Yes, yes.
Perfect. So yeah, we share much more than rides. We work, essentially in a rural territory. We try to give to the population the possibility to move mostly in car sharing and hitchhiking, and we also have services which is more about solidarity transportation. Slide 2, is it possible? That's the historic of the company. We started with different kind of association and slowly moved as a cooperative and became in 2021 Mobicop. 2018 Mobicop. And as you can see, like it's different mixed with Roulet Malin and Covivo. And all this company at the end created a Mobicop, and we're gonna talk today more about Rezopouce, which is hitchhiking services. So slide 3, please. So you see, we got 300 companies and institutions working with us, mostly in France. We also work with Agence Spatiale Européenne, for example. We work with Alstom, Michelin, big company. Slide 4, please. So yeah, we're supported by a large community, at least, almost 600,000 users, 1,200 shareholders, which is really important for us. And you're gonna understand when I'm gonna explain to you the way the company is created, and 100 contributors. So a committee team, which is slide 5, we are 30 to work in Mobicop, with different pole like animation, project managing, communication, commercial. We got different pole in the Mobicop. So slide 6, please. So which is a cooperative society to share mobility. In France, you can have a statute for company, which is a société coopérative d'intérêt collectif, which is the main goal is to produce and supply goods and services for the collective interest and social utility, with different principles. At the Assemblée Générale, you got one person, one vote. Whatever the number of parts or shareholders that you have, if you got 10 parts or 1 part, it's always only 1 vote. At least 57.5% of the raiders go to the reserves. We got a common object and multi-stakeholder dynamic for social utility, and we are anchored in geographical territory. As I told you, most of the time is in a rural territory. Slide 7, please. So slide 7 is our offer. Perfect. Our offer, as I told you, we got a carpooling services with a web platform and an application. We got the hitchhiking services, which is more in a way that we see it a low-tech kind of services. and solidarity transport in order to put in contact people who really need a way to transport themselves. So some people help them if they need during the week, if they need to go to the doctor or pharmacy or whatever, they come to help them. Particularly here, we're gonna stop on the hitchhiking. We try to organize and put all the possibility to the community to develop hitchhiking, and we know that there are plenty of social breaks that people that want to do hitchhiking for different problems, but in the way that we propose it to the community, we have services more and more acceptable, if I can say that, or useful, or yeah, something like that. So for the slide 8, to develop these different services, we got a method which is consulting, tools, and support. Because we do mobility diagnosis or project methodology before, of course, we put the service in. We propose different tools as a custom branded platform, web and mobile app, workshop and animation for employees, admin interface, emailing, communication toolbox, and a support. Support is more training house, project leaders, resource library, and educational tools, and user support. So to promote the change of use, to equip the project, and to energize locally. It's really important, of course, to find the good. Sorry, I'm gonna lose my word. To find the way to give to the population the possibility to accept the way that they can hitchhike or they can share the car. So we do communication and animation to that, and we are absolutely conscious that they're going to take time, but we are in a long-term project because we know that they are a real interest, and particularly in a rural territory, to do that. So please, we're going to do on the slide 9, please. Thank you very much. So to organize the hitchhiking with complete peace of mind, we adapt to the territory different Rezopouce stop, so hitchhiking stops. So we talk with local people, to decide exactly where it will be the most comprehensive for people to put a stop there, to adapt. We adapt it with the flux of vehicles, and to promote this, of course, we talk to the press, to the local structure association, and all the things. We propose also a web platform and a mobile app, which is more to take to anticipate your trajectory. You can also use a platform, but for the hitchhiking services is not necessary, but to subscribe to it. We have a personalized territory page, as you can see a little bit further in the presentation. So, of course, communication to promote hitchhiking, and the registration is free. You can do it physically, or you can do it on the application. Yeah, all the services that we promote are free, and also we are on open source application, and there are no ads on our services, and we are for the numeric liberty, freedom. We can go to slide 10, please. So you can have an idea about the different places where we are in France. Of course, we try to improve that, but it's interesting that we got this most of the time, as I told you, is a rural territory. Because it's more adapted to that. Generally, we promote hitchhiking to say to the people that they can use it for short distance, like 3 to 10 kilometers. We use the way that we say that share your traject with your neighborhood in the way that all the people in rural territory, most of the time, they can know each other and facilitate the way that people can use it.
Can I give you 1 minute, Jacques-Léon? Although
Yeah.
it's very interesting, but I think that you come to an end.
Oh, yeah, I almost finished anyway.
Mhm.
I'm sorry about that. So we can go to the next slide, please. I did a zoom on the Aero department to have an idea. Is it slide 10? Is it possible?
Yeah, I'm trying, but I don't know why I cannot change slide at the
Oh,
moment.
okay. Well, whatever I can tell you is so I did a zoom on Aero department. What I want to tell you, we can have 28% of improvement in a year of people subscribing to the services, but it's always linked with animation and communication. Like we can't put the services on the territory and just get people using it. We absolutely need, as I can say earlier on the other presentation, we really need to do animation on the territory, meet people, do mediation and communication to have real people using it. I have finished. I'm really thank you for the organization and to invite us. Thank you very much.
Merci, Jacques-Léon. Thank you very much for your very interesting presentation. What you have not mentioned is that it's also developed in overseas territory in France, not only in the metropole. We have a question from Flanders initiative that you will be part in the same working group in group 2 on the basic services, asking if we can also apply or use each hiking in other countries, but perhaps you can discuss it in the working group. What I also noticed, it's an interesting economic model for this kind of services, also based on the community of communes who are financing these services. And what also it's interesting in your initiative is that Rezopouce merge with Mobicoop, combining different kind of services between carpooling and hitchhiking on two sides of services. That's why now you arrive to I would say critical mass of services. I will not go further as I see that it's already past 10. So thank you very much, Jacques-Léon, and Bénédicte is also there. So if you want to intervene in the working group, you are welcome to complete things that you had not the occasion to mention. So now, without waiting, I will give the floor to Jackie Mealy from the Transport for Island local link Carlo, Kilkenny, Wicklow. It has already been mentioned by Andrea in his presentation, and very interesting initiatives, which is developed all over Ireland in different counties. Sarah, you are going to,
Yes.
share the presentation, and I will give the floor to Jackie. So also for about 8 minutes. I know that you have a lot of slides, but you promised to go fast on some of them. So you have the floor, Jackie.
Good morning, Europe, from sunny southeast Ireland this morning. My name is Jackie Mealy, and I work for a company called Ring-a-Link. And we cover a number of counties in southeast of Ireland. Move on. The company, Carlo, Kilkenny, South Tipperary, it was founded a long time ago in 2001. It's a voluntary, not-for-profit company, and it's a charity as well. And we have an office based here in Kilkenny and also in Dublin, very near Dublin Airport. Mission is quite simple, just to ensure a real transport option across all the counties where we cover. You can see there the blue on the bottom part of Ireland, the southeast. On the left is South Tipperary, and to the right of that is County Kilkenny. then County Carlow and County Wicklow. So we deliver services in all them counties, and north of Wicklow, which is part of County Dublin, we have some services there also. The area is 7,300 kilometres. It's about 200 kilometres east to west, so it's quite a large area to manage. Population is about 400,000, an average of 55, and as referred to earlier on, in the rural areas, it can be very low population area. Next one. The company is organised. It's not in Europe. I think a lot of local authorities operate rural transport, but in Ireland, in each of the county council areas, local authority areas, what happened back in 2000 was that each of the areas formed voluntary groups themselves, as we call it, transport working groups, to look at the transport at the time in their area. These working groups are made up of maybe local politicians, voluntary people, agency people, etc. So they all came together to form the company and form the board of directors. We have 15 directors of the company. They are voluntary. They don't get paid if we make a profit. In actual fact, it costs some money. Then we have the manager. So we have drivers. Our company is unusual in that we have buses ourselves, travel dispatch centre, and then we employ contractors as well. Next one. Just the operation, then we have about 600 travel options every week. The number of passengers currently each week on the services are about 6,000. The services, mainly DRT, demand responsive, which means that in an area we have a service maybe 1 day, 2 days, maybe 5 days, depends on how the demand developed. And they ring into our centre here and book their trip. And then we have other services called RRS, regular rural services. These are fairly new services now being funded by the government, and they're longer distance fixed, like traditional transport services. Our own, when we plan a service, we try and integrate it obviously with other operators, trains, and other national bus services. We have 23 buses ourselves, small buses, between 14 and 23. We have 18 drivers and we employ about 11 contractors as well. We have a low call number, which means when somebody wants to ring in, no matter where they are, it'll cost them the minimum charge. And then our fares for the DRT services, and by the way, the DRT services are generally door to door. Adults €2 per trip and children €1. Under 5s are free. We do some school services as well. For primary, that's the smaller children, €8 per week, and the secondary, the bigger children, €10 per week. Next one. So we have a manager, 2 managers, myself and assistant, 8 dispatchers, administrators. They do a lot of other work, 18 drivers, and as I said, the offices in Kilkenny here and then in Dublin. Next one. That's just a view of the type of small buses that operate the DRT. Next one. Just the passenger figures from 2006 when we start recording them. And I think the last month, which was, I think it was April, was about 31,000 trips in the month. And just to the graph is not very clear, but to the right of it, you can see the effects of the COVID-19 there, where services almost stopped, or we had to reduce the capacity of the buses carrying passengers. Next one. Regular rural services, they are new fund. It's under a national plan called Connecting Ireland. So they're standard fixed services. Normally the buses would be that we tender. We look for about 38 seats, 30, 38, something like that. The DRT, demand responsive transport, just to define it, in essence, it provides a mechanism whereby passengers can be picked up and dropped off after of their chosen locations, just like a taxi, but with cheaper prices. Next one. So just a schematic of that. For the DRT-based services, the passenger rings in to our dispatcher. That request is kept in our server, and then at the appropriate time, that data goes automatically to an onboard unit in our bus, and the passenger is picked up. Next one. That's just, again, our travel dispatch, and our hours of working is 9 o'clock to 16:30. And we have phone lines, 5 lines coming in. It's important to have good communications in this situation so that people can get through. Okay. Next one. Connecting Ireland is a national plan. That's just Kilkenny. You won't be able to see the detail, but there are some new services there. Next one. So the Connecting Ireland is a 5-year plan, 2022 to 26. The funding is 65 million euros nationally. Our existing rural transport budget in 2022 was 20 million. And by 2026, that will go to 85 million. So that's a significant increase in the delivery of rural transport services in rural areas. You can see the various services there, regular rural services under the Connecting, that some of them we have put in already and some more we have to do in the future. Next one.
Jackie, can I give you still 1 minute if it's possible for you to go on the main points of...
Just the structure in Ireland, you have the Department of Transport, then we deal with the National Transport Authority, and they deal directly with ourselves and companies similar to ourselves around the country. There are 15 who deliver all the rural transport services. Next one. So we can go I won't go into the Moby router system. You can run through them slides briefly. Yeah, go ahead, stay going. Yeah, we have been in a couple of EU projects. Andrea outlined the SmartNet one. We were in EU Interreg, 2 different ones. Very valuable for gaining information sharing, etc., and dealing with, see how other people do it. Next one. So just locally and almost briefly, just a local project we're in, along with the Leader Partnership, a local national bus company, JJ Kavanagh, and the local authority in Kilkenny County Council. And the object is to put in 5 bus shelters with real-time information, which is in operation at the moment. Quite a complex and expensive project. Next one. Just challenges. This is the last one, Pascal. Continued funding. We are funded through tender, and we tender currently at the moment. We have tendered, and if we win the tender, we get another 4 years at coordinating the transport in them areas. Recruitment of staff, and particularly drivers, is a challenge. They're quite scarce now. And because of all these extra services coming on stream, procurement of suitable buses, all the buses we use on the RRS services, they're low floor buses, and we drive on a different side of the road than you do in the rest of Europe. So it's quite difficult to get these buses. The TCU contract tender, as I mentioned, and then tender for our direct award. That's the operation of our own buses. So they're all things we have to keep in mind and keep addressing the whole time. I think that's almost it, Pascal.
Thank you very much, Jackie. Very, very interesting. Also, we can go back. You are also in the working group too on the basic services. What is very interesting to learn about your initiative is this coordination between the national level and the local level, also through the this tendering approach, but also you had well explained that you are also part of EU projects, among which SmartNet, but also Interreg. So very, very interesting. Many thanks, Jackie, for your intervention.
you.
And I will give the floor now to Marko Zevnik, who will present the Sopotniki Initiative Institute. I think this is the way you asked me to present it, from Slovenia, also an initiative which has grown since 10 years, if I'm right, and you have also future plans for developing this service, which is free transportation for rural elderly people. So, Marko, you have the floor.
Good morning, everybody. Yes, like introduced here at Sopotniki Institute, we provide free transportation, and our main focus are elderly people living in remote rural areas. Currently, this service is operational in 17 Slovenian municipalities. The service is provided with 21 dedicated vehicles. At the moment, there are just around 300 active volunteers who provide transportations. And around, this number is a bit old, it's around 6,000 active users, so elderly people using this service. And daily we do around from 50 to 60 transportations. This is just a chart how our service was growing, because we keep on establishing new units, so new municipalities are signing up to this solution. And of course, during the COVID times, there's also a slight drop, but at the moment we are I mean, this service is really, I would say, regularly used by our users. I think the best way to introduce Sopotniki is just by describing how it all started. So after my graduation, I moved from capital, from Ljubljana, to remote area, to small village, but my job was still in Ljubljana, so I traveled daily around 80-90 kilometers in one direction. And very soon the neighbors came to me asking me if I could drop them off in the nearest city, or if I could bring them something from the shop, or some drugs and stuff like that. And that was the first time I realized how hard it is for elderly people living in these areas where there's basically no public transportation. There is this school bus, but it's just one in the morning and one in the afternoon. And on some buses, other passengers are not even allowed to step in. So at that point, I was talking with my friends, and we just said, let's try it out. And we've invested our own money to buy the first car. We set up an NGO, and we just print out the flyers and distribute them in local shops, at the doctors, and stuff like that. And the very next day, the phone rang, and as you were able to see, I think we've addressed a real issue, and I think we are offering an interesting answer to how to approach that. Like I described, these remote areas are basically all the lighter spots in the map of Slovenia. Only those darker spots are cities, and in all these areas, the transportation, the mobility, especially mobility of elderly, is a big challenge. So our service operates in cooperation with municipalities, who are our main funders, but there are other bodies also working with us, and those are like public works services, Red Cross organizations, and other public organizations. They help us by providing funds, by employing local coordinators. There are 17 people in those units coordinating the work of volunteers and accepting the calls of elderly people and inputting the reservation data in our system. Of course, municipalities are very strict about funding, so we always looked for other ways to decrease the cost of the service, and that's where donations and sponsorships come into place. So what we've managed to do during these years is that we are presenting Sopotniki as a good story in the local communities, and we are able to attract local businesses to join in and help us. So just one example is all our volunteers get free breakfast and coffee in the morning, and then free lunch at local restaurants who are supporting these solutions. There are local car dealers that are providing us with free vehicles to run the service and stuff like that. And by let's say joining these different stakeholders, we are able to keep the costs of running this service relatively low. What we've realized during these years of running the service is that maybe the elderly are, I mean, maybe even the bigger need than mobility is social interaction. And by running this service with volunteers, those are people who do this with their full heart. They want to join with, I mean, they want to contact with elderly people, they want to talk to them, and the elderly feel accepted. And this really gives them a sense that they're not burdening someone, they're not troubling their kids or grandkids, but there is someone who's really glad that he can help them. And this encourages elderly not to run the basic needs like visit to the doctors or to the shop, but maybe go for like a quick trip or to visit a friend. And this is something that we really look forward to.
Marko, can I give you 1 minute and a half to conclude?
Okay, this is the photo just from 2 days ago when we had this year's meeting of our volunteers. This is around 130 people attended this event from 300. And we are saying, like I mentioned before, that volunteers are the heart of this solution because like I said, they really love this work, and our organization is doing everything we can do to help them and to enjoy this work. So we are very strict about all these insurances. We are training all the people involved. We are providing them with gear and, like I said, lunches and so on. The service enables elderly to live independently from the institutions, keeping the rural areas inhabited, and provides them access to the services which are usually in the towns or cities. And like I said before, it encourages active lifestyle. This was our reservation system when we started, and this is how it looks today. We've developed our own reservation system. We have our own mobile app that helps volunteers to navigate or to contact elderly, and so on. Okay, this is like a small extension of our service. One company provided us with additional vehicles that we can provide like a full day trips, and we grant wishes because, like I said, the majority transportations are to the doctors, but then we encourage elderly to also have like a special visits also. With local businesses, we are also providing discount coupons for elderly because many of them are experiencing troubles with financial troubles. We've integrated our service with public transportations. I think I don't have time to go into this, but we've extended our service also to on-demand service for rural areas. This is not free of charge like Sopotniki, but we've let's say we've used our experience and help build this on-demand solution. These are just some photos from COVID times when we were distributing also food and stuff. And yeah, just during
we are going to share all the presentations, so I think so the people can also have a look on the nice pictures. I mean, which illustrate.
One last, so during the European Mobility Week, our volunteers for one day becomes the mayors of that cities, and usually that means for us that a day prior to that we have to take these ladies to the hairdressers so that they are ready to meet the mayor. Yeah, I mean, just to finish up, I think when we manage to get all these different stakeholders in local communities to work together, we make it possible to run this service with low costs and in such a way that many people want to participate and contribute to. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marko. Very, very interesting. Also very interesting to see how the role of the local communities to offer this kind of services, which is showing a lot of solidarity in the rural areas, and also interesting to share experience with the previous experience that we have heard. And again, you will have the occasion to give more details in the working group in which you will participate after. So thank you so much. I will give the floor now to Carlo Ricci from the Gal Costa del Trabocchi, who will present an initiative on cycling tourism network. So you have the floor. If you can keep it in 7-8 minutes max, it would be great, as we are a bit behind schedule. Thank you.
Okay,
thank you,
I will
Carlo.
try. Thank you very much, Pascal. Many thanks for this invitation, and good morning to everybody. I go to share my slides. Do you see it? I think yes. Okay.
Yes, perfect.
The Costa dei Trabocchi is the area where I come from, and this area, just a few years ago, was a very it had a very traditional tourist offer, a little bit, let's say, sleepy, based on few seaside resorts on the coast, working just for 2 months per year, and with no connection with the hills and the mountains that are behind. But the landscape of our region, or the landscape of our coasts, really changed about 8 years ago, when a green road was realized on the old railway track that was running just, as you can see by the pictures, on the coast. And this greenway was a 60 kilometers greenway. And just 1 year after the first realization, our leader lag was founded, and with the mission to support the region to make the best use of this new infrastructure. So we started with this format, this Costa dei Trabocchi Lab, that is a big consultation that we make every 6 months, more or less, with a lot of meetings, especially at the beginning, and a lot of participatory design. And in this event, it was conceived a new vision about the area, about the tourist offer of the area, based on the possibility to become a sustainable, active tourism destination, where you can leave the car and move by e-bike from the coast to the hills in the countryside, where you can visit all the main tourist attractors of natural, cultural, and taste, enogastronomic type. So we started this with a feasibility study, and this feasibility study was called, do you say in English, sewing up the cycling region. That was, the meaning was to connect every place through bike tourism routes. And this feasibility study was based on the concept of natural cycling route. That means natural cycling road, it means secondary roads with low traffic density, mainly in the countryside. So this is a real underused resource of our territories that has a very big potential. And we started to work on this. And after the feasibility study, we published a call for sponsors. And thanks to this, we found a big company in the renewable energy sector that founded our first experiment of cycling roads. The name was Rete Ciclabile dei Trabocchi, Trabocchi Cycling Roads. It is a road about a cycling network, sorry. It is a network of about 300 kilometers with many different trails. You can compose several rings, and you can reach through these all the main places in the hills from the coast. And as you can see, all the roads are connected with the coastal greenway. This project was realized in a, can we say, advanced way, with specific solutions. Like you see here an example of signs. On every sign, you can find the arrows that give you the direction, but also two QR code that connect you with the digital track that can turn your mobile phone in a navigator, audio and video, and to a narrative description of the road. Then we use a few signs on the main cross, and these stickers that help the visitors to be sure that they are on the correct way. We also realized a website that is named Cycling Network of Trabocchi. After 3 years, we started in 2021. Now we are changing this network that has had a very good success, and we are introducing in 2024 with a new project, a new design concept, a little bit, let's say, institutional, but more clear. And also we extended the project to all the area of provincial administrative borders. So these are the examples of new signs and new stickers. And this is the enlargement from the cycling network to the whole province area. And in this moment, we are realizing these new roads. So the project was quite successful, and many institutions participated. And in the same period,
I give you 1 minute, Carlo, if you can.
I go fast. In the same period, we organized a work group. The name is Costa di Trabocchi MOB, that was experimenting a mobility solution, sustainable mobility solution for tourism. Like you can see bike bus lines where you can put the bike to go in the village on the top of the hills, bike stations where if you go to the beach by train, you can find the bike and hire this for a very, very low price for the whole day, or the intermobility map that explain you all the bus and train public lines of the region. And also we realized this digital ecosystem that is a big hub that joined 15 different websites about tourist information in all the province, and is a very important driver for our orientation system and the tourist information system. So many initiatives, newspapers, some specific initiative like this game about the pirates and that offer to the tourists the opportunity to visit the area using the network, but also meeting the farmers and things like this. And as we can say, this is the beginning of our story. Let's say what will happen. Many thanks.
Thank you, Carlo. I'm convinced to come after this presentation to test this very nice initiative about
Let's come to visit us.
Yes, and perhaps others who are joining today. And you will be part of working group 1 on tourism. So again, for the participants, if you have questions or if you want to add some elements, you are welcome. So thank you to all presenters, to all speakers. Thank you so much for sharing your very interesting experiences. Jacques-Léon, Jackie, Marko, Carlo, very interesting. So I'm happy now to close this session.